The echo in the square floated, and Xiao Yang stretched out his hand. The mysterious heavy ruler obliquely inserted on the ground in the distance flew again and fell into his hands. This time, Xiao Yang accepted the ring. Immediately, the body shook slightly, and the golden elephant decided to display it immediately. The strength of the whole body condensed on the body surface like a substance and turned into a vigorous cover to protect Xiao Yang. The perfect fit between the golden elephant and the dragon phoenix ancient armor will make Xiao Yang's defense to a higher level, and this is only the display of Xiao Yang's physical defense. Seeing the golden gang mask condensed from Xiao Yang's body surface, Shui Miao's face changed again. His eyes carefully swept over the gang mask. After some exploration, he was shocked to find that the gang mask was not fighting qi or source qi, but condensed by pure strength. This power materialization. How is this possible? In today's world, can someone materialize the physical power? The scene in front of him is too shocking. It's hard to imagine that Xiao Yang not only has achieved good self-cultivation, but also advances the power of the road and the power of the flesh at the same time. This is really shocking. Even in his own family, no one has been able to reach such a situation since ancient times. It's just a pity. If Shui Miao knew Xiao Yang's identity as a fourth-order herbalist, he didn't know how wonderful the expression on his face would be. Along the way, he is the favored son of heaven in everyone's eyes. No matter where he is, he can be worshipped and respected. However, today, until he saw Xiao Yang, he realized that there is someone outside the person. Compared with the latter, he is really much worse. However, this does not make him admit defeat. Before the outcome of all events is uncertain, we cannot make a conclusion. If the outcome is uncertain, how can we easily judge whether we win or lose? Although Xiao Yang is strong, there is still a gap in cultivation between them. With all his strength, it is not necessarily who loses and who wins. Drink. Taking back his eyes, Shui Miao didn't hesitate. While Xiao Yang's golden light condensed on his body surface, he rushed forward abruptly and waved his long gun. As soon as the gun body was swung, the sharp tip of the gun scratched hard at Xiao Yang's throat. The gun body was covered with water stains in the invisible void. The whole long gun waved like a blue wind flag, but its extremely fast speed and fierce momentum still made people dare not underestimate it. In the blink of an eye, the spear had come close to Xiao Yang. The sharp tip of the spear crossed the invisible void and pointed directly at Xiao Yang's throat. Facing the long gun condensed by the power of the road, Xiao Yang's heart dare not be careless. To tell the truth, this is the first time in his history. After seeing the power of the 10 steel needles in his hand, Xiao Yang also has a deeper understanding of the power of the road. How dare he treat the enemy easily at the moment? While the spear quickly approached his throat, Xiao Yang quickly raised his arms, stood up in front of him, crossed left and right, and destroyed the spear that had appeared in his throat from the front. The powerful force is the same as breaking bamboo. The long gun just sticks to the moment, which suddenly burst into a drop of water and dispersed. However, before Xiao Yang could recover, the long gun that burst just a moment ago was quickly solidified by the water droplets that spread up later. However, in the blink of an eye, it had returned to its original state again, and its momentum was no less than that of the previous one. The sharp tip of the gun slashed Xiao Yang's throat, but it brought up a crisp sound like the collision of gold and iron. The sharp tip of the gun oppressed Xiao Yang's throat, and even his breathing felt a little sluggish. Although there was a separation between the golden elephant and the dragon phoenix ancient armor, Xiao Yang still felt a strong threat. His look in his eyes immediately changed, and his action quickly destroyed the long gun in front of him again. At the same time, his body also quickly retreated back. It was not until 10 feet away that Xiao Yang saw that the long gun he had destroyed again the moment before was replenished rapidly by streams of water, but it recovered again in the blink of an eye. What a strange road to water, the heart secretly exclaimed. Xiao Yang felt his neck bitterly. Thanks to the protection of Longhuang ancient armor and Jingxiangju, otherwise if he was unprepared, he would have become a corpse at this time. The power of the avenue, whether in energy supplement or in operation, is far more than fighting qi and source gas. Therefore, The recovery speed of the weapons transformed after the solidification of the avenue is extremely fast. It is impossible to destroy my whale gun by strength alone. Seeing the surprised color on Xiao Yang's face, Shui Miao made an atmospheric explanation. If he had known the power of the road, he would never be stupid enough to destroy weapons with violence. From this alone, he can see that Xiao Yang doesn't know much about the power of the road. Oh, thank you for your advice. Xiao Yang smiled and met friends in the war. This is a good way. However, Shui Miao doesn't seem to think so. I tell you, I just don't want to take advantage of you, but this is by no means a reason for me to humiliate you. With a cold voice, Shui Miao's body flashed. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Xiao Yang. The long gun in his hand suddenly waved out and took Xiao Yang's head. Under the condition that Xiao Yang is guarded by a gang mask all over his body, he will have a better chance of winning only by choosing the key of attack. However, the so-called taking a cut and learning a wisdom. With what happened just now, Xiao Yang will not easily let the long gun in the guy's hand touch himself again. When the spear came again, Xiao Yang's steps changed, and Tianju's step was displayed in an instant. His body swayed from side to side like a virtual shadow. No matter how fast the whale gun in Shui Miao's hand was, he still couldn't touch Xiao Yang's body. When the spear pierced Xiao Yang's body, Shui Miao thought again and again. Every time he stabbed, it was just the shadow left by Xiao Yang's body. Even if there was occasional contact, Xiao Yang dissolved it with the benefit of different fire, which led to dozens of contact between the two sides, but there was always a stalemate. In the face of Xiao Yang's strange speed, Rao can't do anything with the power of the road of water. Every time he sees that the attack is about to fall on Xiao Yang, the latter's body suddenly slides away like a loach. No matter how fierce his attack is, it's useless in the end. Damn, can you just hide? In addition to being helpless, Shui Miao's heart also raised to anger. The person in front of him clearly left some strength, but he never showed it, which made his heart a little angry. Drink. Look how you hide this time. Whale gun, angry sea whale jiao. With a low drink, Shui Miao's original body shape suddenly settled in the void. His body shape stagnated. His long gun suddenly swung in his hand. Suddenly, the water waves rippled. The battle circle where they were in was immediately filled with surging waves. The waves rolled. In the deep water, a huge sea animal could be vaguely seen, which surrounded Xiao Yang in many waves. Avenue of water, water and moon mirror flower. Then another cry fell, and the 8 water curtains suspended behind Shui Miao immediately shot out, turned into streamers, disappeared into the wave, and rapidly expanded into 8 huge water curtains, standing in front of the sea beast, which also passed through one. Then, it was divided into 2 until it was divided into 9 huge sea beasts, wandering in a narrow space, surrounded by Xiao Yang. Look how you escaped my blow. Kill the whale Jiao in the angry sea. With a fierce drink, the 9 giant beasts under the wave immediately twisted their huge bodies, drove the whole water area, and fiercely rushed over to Xiao Yang without a dead corner. Such an attack is impossible to escape. At this moment, all the students outside the field opened their eyes and stared at the shocking scene. Their faces were full of fanaticism. Such a huge battle scene is very difficult to see on weekdays. Now, it can be said that it is extremely shocking. Especially the 9 giant beasts in the deep water. Even some college tutors outside the field saw them, but they couldn't help but look slightly cold. Facing the giant beast, even they felt a faint oppression. Shui Miao's blow is not strong. The startling waves blocked Xiao Yang's retreat. 9 giant animals rushed at Xiao Yang from all directions. The waves rolled and the giant animals rushed wildly, but Xiao Yang's face was still plain. The 9 painted black tents suddenly gathered around the body and surrounded Xiao Yang. Then, the huge soul force poured out madly from the center of the eyebrows. How can it be so easy to resist by force of the road? Seeing this scene, Shui Miao gave a cold voice. Immediately after that, the 9 giant beasts bombarded the 9 painted black tents in everyone's sight. However, the amazing explosion in the imagination did not sound. In the collision with the void avenue, the 9 giants and the endless waves seemed to plunge into the endless void, pouring into it continuously. Even the 9 huge sea beasts were swallowed up. This. Damn it. However, Shui Miao underestimated the power of the Void Avenue. In the face of endless void, Shui Miao's attack was like being led into a new river by the turbulent river. Most of the power was transferred until finally, the huge power contained in the 9 giant beasts wiped out the 9 tents. The 9 tents dissipated slowly, and Xiao Yang, dressed in black robes, also appeared in Shui Miao's sight again. Shua. This time, without any hesitation, Shui Miao held a long gun, broke through the void, and appeared in front of Xiao Yang in the blink of an eye. He didn't expect that the fighting skills exerted by the power of Lianhe Avenue were easily dissolved by Xiao Yang, so now he can't leave any opportunities for the other party. He will never allow the other party to defeat himself without playing card. The spear stabbed Xiao Yang's head, but Xiao Yang easily avoided it. Their body shape passed by. Whale gun, swallow return. But at this time, when their bodies passed by, Shui Miao suddenly turned the gun body, so that the gun tip was behind and the handle was in front. At the same time, he let go of the long gun in his hand, bent back and kicked heavily on the handle. Suddenly, the long gun that was originally passing by with Xiao Yang shot at Xiao Yang's back again in a moment, and quickly approached Xiao Yang's back. Then the next moment, I heard a puff. The tip of the long gun pierced Xiao Yang's back and chest in full view of the public. Wow! At that time, everyone outside the court was in an uproar, and their shocked eyes fell on Xiao Yang, who was pierced in the chest by a blow. They never thought that even though Xiao Yang had the power of the powerful avenue such as the Void Avenue, he was finally defeated by Shui Miao. They didn't see how Xiao Yang used his powerful fighting skills from beginning to end. Not only these people, but also Shui Miao, who came back to God at this time, was also very surprised, and his eyes were full of unbelievable looks. His eyes stared at Xiao Yang, who was hit through his chest. Shui Miao was a little dull for a moment. He couldn't believe that Xiao Yang with such strong defense could be hit through his chest at the moment, which made him feel incredible. However, at a certain moment, Shui Miao seems to suddenly notice something. The smell of Xiao Yang in front of me seems wrong. Xiao Yang, who was supposed to be in the later period of the 7-star duty, now shows only the middle period of the 7-star duty. This. As soon as Shui Miao's eyes coagulated, he felt a bad feeling in his heart. But at this time, Xiao Yang slowly turned his head and showed a joking smile on his face. Immediately, the whole body became transparent at the speed visible to the naked eye, but disappeared in front of Shui Miao after a few breaths. Disappeared. When he was shocked, Shui Miao also clearly felt the dangerous smell of the rapid approach behind him. At present, he took back his long gun, turned his body and stabbed it forward. But at the moment when Shui Miao turned back, a dangerous breath that made his soul feel a thrill, but it was like a ghost, which had appeared in front of his eyebrows. For a moment, the spear that should have been stabbed out of Shui Miao's hand also suddenly stopped. The whole body was fixed in place like a sculpture, and cold sweat poured out quickly and covered the whole body. Deep in his soul, a deep sense of suffocation came. Shui Miao only felt that the whole person had almost fallen into an endless abyss. If his action was 1 second later, I'm afraid he would be killed by that force. When Shui Miao stared with fear, between his eyebrows at the moment, there was a long and black steel needle, which almost sent him to the ghost gate. However, when Shui Miao felt the special breath on the steel needle, endless horror immediately appeared in his heart. This avenue congeals. Infinite horror filled Shui Miao's heart. He thought he had recognized the gap between him and Xiao Yang, but this scene overturned all his judgments about Xiao Yang. The latter's excellence and strength were far beyond his imagination. Thinking of this, Shui Miao finally laughed at himself, sighed deeply, lowered his head and said bitterly, "I lost. I lost." Slowly blurted out 3 words, but all the students present were momentarily dull. No one could think that the outcome would be so reversed and changeable. They didn't think that Shui Miao, the first person of Beihai University, would really lose. Looking back on the whole battle process, it seemed simple and monotonous. Almost all of them were blindly attacking by Shui Miao. The attack was fierce and overbearing, which dazzled everyone. Such an offensive, ordinary people don't say to defeat it, but it's extremely difficult to just survive these 100 rounds. However, Xiao Yang was calm in the whole process. His ghost body method surprised everyone present. What shocked them most was the previous scene. In the face of Shiremiao's angry sea whale Jiao, everyone present thought they could not escape, but Xiao Yang easily resolved the crisis with the help of the power of the Void Avenue. The incarnation outside the body made everyone present believe it, but what nobody thought was that the appearance of Xiao Yang's body made Shiremiao lose in a flash. It can be imagined what kind of gap existed between the two people. Just think, if Xiao Yang went all out from the beginning, would Shiremiao still have the chance to stick to it now? At this moment, the students in the field were worried about Shiremiao and completely forgot the disdain and ridicule when they first saw Xiao Yang. In the void outside the crowd, several elders of the college looked at the water Miao who was healthy in the field. They were relieved. The latter was not only the best student of Beihai College in recent 100 years, but also his identity was particularly special. Once Xiao Yangang continued his acupuncture, it would not only bring trouble to the college, but also Xiao Yang himself. However, apart from these, the strength shown by Xiao Yang once again shocked the old guys of their college. The road was frozen. They thought they could see Shiremiao. It was called a demon to do this step. However, the emergence of Xiao Yang just made them really feel that this wild boy with unknown origin is even more rebellious. Is this boy really an old friend of the dean? That's terrible. When this little guy grows up in the future, I'm afraid he will become another giant in this world. Several elders looked at each other and saw a strong color of shock from each other's eyes. At the same time, Xiao Yang on the square also took back the painted black steel needle suspended in the center of Shiremiao's eyebrows. Looking at the ghost-like figure in front of him, Shiremiao was still in shock until he saw that the steel needle was taken back by Xiao Yang. He didn't feel that the terrible breath oppressed at the bottom of his heart gradually dispersed. At the same time, at the top of the statue, the old man in black and Haimo dust also sighed. This little guy is really unexpected. Up to now, his cards don't seem to have been really used. Tut tut. The old man in black robe couldn't help but tut and marvel. Haimo Chen's face on one side also showed a touch of comfort. The strength shown by Xiao Yang also made him have some confidence in the latter. Little guy, you are very good, but don't let Jiu down. Are you from that family? Although he still couldn't believe it in his heart, Shui Miao couldn't help asking. He didn't believe that in this continent, except for the family surnamed Xiao, who could cultivate such a talented and strong person. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang picked his eyebrows in surprise, immediately smiled and shook his head, saying, "Family? Sorry, I don't belong to any family." Seeing the expression on Xiao Yang's face, Shui Miao was stunned. He took back his thoughts and laughed at himself. In the end, he attached too much importance to the family power. Even without strong foundation support, if he has enough talent, he can become a strong man. There are many such examples in the historical development of the mainland. Shiremiao, if I guess right, Haimo dust should be at the top of the stone statue. In this college, there is only a place where we can observe our war and cannot be easily found. Xiao Yang smiled slightly, with a bit of cunning in his smile. He would not have been so sure, but the previous deliberate move of Shiremiao to divert his attention made him confirm this. At this time, he asked again just to confirm it again. You guessed right, but I have to correct one thing. After nodding, Shiremiao whispered to Xiao Yang with a voice that only he and he could hear. I'm not Shiremiao. My name is Chen. I believe you and I will meet again in the future. At that time, I will face you with stronger cultivation and will defeat you. When he raised his eyebrows, he didn't expect that this guy was still using his pseudonym. Although he didn't know why, Xiao Yang still remembered his real name in his heart. Chen. In addition, although you beat me, it doesn't mean you will be able to see the dean. With that, Shiremiao turned around and looked at the stone platform around the statue suspended outside the battle circle, with a fierce color in his eyes again. If you want to see the dean, you must climb the 100-step stone platform. When you reach the top, you will naturally be able to see him, but if you can't, you may have to come back another day. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang turned his eyes and then looked at it. After careful exploration, he realized that it seems that those stone platforms are the key to whether he can see Haimo dust. When he moved, Xiao Yang flashed and appeared in front of the stone statue. As for the energy mask covering the whole battle circle, when Shui Miao announced his defeat, he naturally dispersed. Behind him, Shui Miao quickly followed up, which surprised Xiao Yang. The latter also grinned and said, "The reason why I was personally welcomed by the dean is that a few years ago, I set foot on the 54th floor of the stone platform with the cultivation of the 5-star fighting emperor. Now after a few years, my cultivation is not comparable at the beginning. I also want to see how many floors I can set foot on now." Hearing the latter words, Xiao Yang nodded suddenly. No wonder this guy can be personally treated by Haimo Dust. It turns out that there is this reason, but it's good. The two quarreled, which also brought him a little more interest. Looking back, Xiao Yang looked at the stone platforms connected with each other in the sky, but he couldn't help thinking of what happened just before he met Guyo. At that time, he also encountered the same situation, but the difference was that the person he had to face was no longer Jiyu. Haimo Dust. I'm coming. Step. The soles of his feet stamped heavily on the ground, and Xiao Yang's body shot up fiercely, but in the twinkling of an eye he had climbed the first stone platform. When Xiao Yang stepped on the stone platform, there was an invisible pressure falling suddenly overhead. At the same time, the chain connecting the second stone platform was also wrapped by a milky soft light and quickly spread upward. However, without waiting for the pressure on Xiao Yang's head to drop, Xiao Yang's legs worked again, his body immediately burst out, and soon climbed the second and third stone platform and rushed to the top of the stone platform without stopping. Later, after taking a little breath, Shui Miao also followed closely. The two people went forward and backward at the same speed, regardless of you and me. However, in a short clip, they had already climbed the top 30 stone platforms, while Xiao Yang was always ahead of Shui Miao 3. In contrast, the latter is not worried. If he wants to climb the 100-step stone platform, it is useless to rely on speed alone. Even if Xiao Yang's physical strength is strong, the more upward the stone platform is, the more terrible the pressure on it is. It is impossible to last only by his physical strength. Like him at the beginning, he finally climbed the 54th floor by virtue of his perseverance beyond ordinary people. Even now, Shui Miao is not completely sure that he can climb the 90th floor, let alone the 100th floor. Although Xiao Yang's fighting power is extraordinary and his strength can't be underestimated, in the previous battle, if it weren't for the latter's ghostly speed and careful machine, Shui Miao also admitted that he couldn't defeat himself so easily. On this stone platform, you can't climb to the top with your heart. You still have to speak with your strength. It was not until after the 50th stone platform that the speed of the two people gradually changed. On the 50th floor, Shui Miao has obviously felt some pressure. With different heights, he faces different threats. He can no longer be as calm as before. On the contrary, after reaching the 50th floor, Xiao Yang's speed did not slow down at all. When Shui Miao arrived here, the former only forced the stone platform on the 60th floor. Knowing the consequences of the 67th floor, Xiao Yang breathed out with a little effort. Seeing this scene, Shui Miao was even more surprised. He didn't think that the gap between himself and Xiao Yang had become so obvious at the moment. At the same time, Shui Miao felt unwilling in his heart, so he had to work hard. After taking a deep breath, his body suddenly shot out again and chased Xiao Yang non-stop. The gap between them also shortened rapidly. On the 70th floor, the distance between Xiao Yang and Shui Miao was only separated by a stone platform. 72. 73. 74. However, when Shui Miao watched Xiao Yang climb the stone platform on the 77th floor, he felt powerless. His whole body was soaked with sweat. His long hair tied behind his back had been scattered. His breathing was long and heavy. The fighting spirit in his body might be due to the consumption of previous battles, but he couldn't keep up with it. Damn. I can't stop here, absolutely not. He scolded with hatred in his heart. Shui Miao's body slowly straightened and gathered all the strength of his body. The soles of his feet stepped heavily on the edge of the stone platform and made every effort to rush forward again. But unfortunately, when Shui Miao tried his best to rush to the 80th floor and saw that he was about to climb to the 81st floor, his body finally lost all its strength, and the whole person's center of gravity was immediately out of control. He completely lost his strength in the air, rushing to the 81st floor, and his body fell down uncontrollably. The appearance of this scene suddenly changed the faces of all the students in the square below. Several tutors around also set off quickly and came to the bottom of the statue to take over the falling water Miao. But just then, Miao, whose body shape fell, was suddenly caught by a hand from his arm and forcibly lifted it up. Then, his body shape quickly rushed to the 83rd floor under the leadership of this force. At a glance, Xiao Yan brought him here. Why are you? I can't watch you fall. Didn't you say you want to defeat me? Let's climb the 100-story stone platform first. Before Miao's words fell, Xiao Yan interrupted it with a smile. Miao looked up in surprise, but he saw the latter's sweaty cheek and knew in his heart that Xiao Yan should not have much strength left at the moment. You don't want to take me up? You don't have much strength left. Hey, you think so? Even if I can take you, I'm afraid you won't be happy. With a joking smile, Xiao Yan threw a jade bottle to Miao, which contained several fourth-order pills. First, use this to recover your fighting spirit. As for me, I'll go up first. After saying that, Xiao Yan ignored Miao. His heart moved. In the center of his eyebrows, the vast soul power suddenly swept out. At the same time, the only fighting spirit in his body gathered together without hesitation. Then, in Miao's shocked eyes, he shot high again. Fourth order soul power, is he? Thinking of some possibility, the expression on Miao's face, sitting in place, became dull again. He really couldn't imagine that Xiao Yan would have that identity. If it was true, he would be completely defeated in this war. At the same time, Xiao Yan's body also swept up again and went straight to the top of the statue. With the blessing of soul power, the previous consumption has been temporarily compensated. Coupled with the complete outbreak of the remaining fighting spirit and physical strength, Xiao Yan is like a crazy beast, moving wildly into the cloud. Soon, Xiao Yan had come to the stone platform on the 90th floor, only the last 10 steps from the top of the statue. Looking at the clouds not far from the top of his head, Xiao Yan showed a fierce look in his eyes. All the strength of his body was condensed on his legs. His body rushed up crazily and left no force. Almost at a step-by-step speed, Xiao Yan's stay in each stone platform is just one step. After several breaths, his body has appeared on the 99th stone platform, and Xiao Yan has seen the pavilion at the top of the statue. There are two figures standing side by side, and one of them is Haimo Dust. At the same time, this pavilion is also the last stone platform. Step. On the cloud top, a pavilion stands. At this moment, the three figures are sitting in it. Xiao Yan swept the Haimo Dust in front of him. He couldn't help but be surprised. The appearance of Haimo Dust in front of him was actually the same as Guyo, or Tuoshegu Emperor. The only difference was their respective hair color. Haimo Dust's hair was blue. In addition, it was no different. At the thought that the two people look almost the same, Xiao Yan can't help but think of another person besides Haimo Dust, Yi Honglian. At the beginning, Guyo once told him that Yi Honglian is a woman with a particularly hot temper, but at this time, if the latter looks the same as them, what kind of scenery will it be? Thinking of this, Xiao Yan secretly beat a spirit in his heart and dared not continue to think about it. Hehe, little guy, your growth rate is far beyond my expectation. I thought that when you came to me, you would be the 5-star duty at most, but unexpectedly, your cultivation has reached the later stage of the 7-star duty. Moreover, looking at the previous battle, you should have a lot of cards that have not been played. Haimo Dust looked at Xiao Yan in front of him with a kind smile. He couldn't stop nodding his head. Seeing all the manifestations of Xiao Yan today, he had affirmed the latter. Hearing Haimo Chen's words, Xiao Yan also smiled. The former's eyes were very poisonous. Although he had seen the steel needle condensed by the Void Avenue, he still didn't believe that this was his only card. I have to say, it's really impossible to hide something in front of these guys. Hehe, I said, you were always amazed when you saw the play. Why are you quiet when you see others now? At this time, Haimo Dust turned his eyes to the black-robed old man on the other side, joked on his face, and smelled the speech, Xiao Yang also turned his eyes to the past. Hey, you old fellow, I don't speak just because I give you face and want you to talk more with this boy. It's good for you to ask me to speak. Hearing the words of Haimo Dust, the old man in black also glanced at Xiao Yang with a strange smile. His eyes kept looking up and down, as if he were looking at a treasure. Hey, you have a good physique. Just now I saw your fight. It seems that you have some research on physical strength. You can actually materialize physical strength. Hey, if you want to do that, ordinary people don't have some years, but they can't do it. Hey, Xiao Yang, this old guy usually has a few people. It's a high evaluation of you to say these words to you. Haimo Ken laughed, and his words were true. The old man in black also smiled and said, anyway, the boy below doesn't have the ability. Let me praise him. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang didn't dare to neglect it. He knew that the people who could sit at the same table with Haimo Dust must be extraordinary. It was certainly an honor to be appreciated by the latter. He immediately got up and saluted. Haha, forget the red tape. It's no big deal. It's just one-sided. The old man in black didn't care, but there was a soft smile on his face, and then he smiled and scolded at Haimo Dust. I said, you old man, open your mouth and shut your mouth. The old guy called me. People don't know. They thought I didn't have a name. You can't introduce me. Haimo Dust heard another burst of laughter. Xiao Yang on one side grinned dry. Facing the two, he really didn't dare to relax. This old guy is the ancestor of the sea shark family. At the same time, he is also the strongest one in the ocean. He is called Sea Battle Day. You can call him a sea old thief or an old thing. Haimo Dust joked and smiled, but the Sea Battle Day cut his eyes hard, but what he got was a shameless smile. However, Xiao Yang, who heard the words in Haimo Dust's mouth at the moment, was greatly shocked in his heart. Naturally, he could hear that Haimo Dust didn't mean to joke in his words. This sentence alone was enough to shock Xiao Yang, the ancestor of the sea shark family. The sea shark family is one of the 3 most powerful forces in the North Sea. I didn't expect that its ancestors would have such a relationship with Haimo Dust. Moreover, what shocked Xiao Yang most was the strongest in the ocean. This sentence alone contained infinite weight. At least the 2 warcraft groups in the North Sea have multiplied for thousands of years. Their huge heritage must be particularly terrible. Among them, there are some powerful and extremely powerful existents. Xiao Yang has no doubt that they are the strong ones among Yuan Wang and Yuan Huang. There must be many in this ocean. But not everyone can afford the name of the strongest one. At least, with Xiao Yang's doubt, it can be called this name. I'm afraid the strength of Naval Battle Day is at least in Yuanzhong. Yuanzhong. Just thinking about this realm makes Xiao Yang feel very hot in his heart, but he doesn't know when he will wait if he wants to arrive that day. Immediately, Xiao Yang quickly got up again, bowed and hugged the Sea Battle Day, and said respectfully, Younger Xiao Yang, I've seen the naval battle, elder. Hearing the speech, the expression on Hai Zhantian's face suddenly turned, smiled at Xiao Yang, and said with a laugh. Ha, it's a good little guy. Otherwise, if you like, don't call me an elder. Just worship me as a teacher and call me a teacher in the future. I promise that as long as you are in the North Sea, no one dares to touch you. If the old and young man in front of you wants to touch you, just call back and I will support you. How about ha? Although he knew it was a joke of Naval Battle Day, Xiao Yang still dared not neglect to apologize. It was Haimo Dust who joked with Naval Battle Day one after another. Then he put away the joking expression on his face, looked serious again, turned his eyes, fell on Xiao Yang and said, Xiao Yang, after talking about this guy, now I think I should tell you about our relationship. Hearing this, Xiao Yang's face suddenly became serious. Naturally, he knew what Haimo Dust meant, nodded slightly and said, Elder, just open your mouth. One side, Sea Battle Day saw the 2 people like this, and immediately became silent. In order not to disturb the 2 people, he got up and walked outside the pavilion to enjoy the scenery in the distance. This video will end here.